French officials have declared France could veto any deal made this week as the prospect of no-deal Brexit becomes ever more likely. Will France veto a Brexit deal? Brexit negotiations are in their final moments as the end of the transition period draws closer and closer. Talks have hit troubled waters once again, and instead of finding common ground, the EU have hardened their position on making concessions. To add to the chaos, a top official from France has declared it possible that France will veto an agreement if it is not entirely right for them. UK government sources had claimed on Thursday evening the talks had taken a sudden step backwards after adamant French lobbying pushed the EU to make a number of late demands. EU sources have dismissed such claims of bringing new demands to the table at the 11th hour, insisting that the persistent sticking points, fishing, state aid and implementation, remain the same. Monday morning is considered the final deadline for a deal by both sides. Clement Beaune, a close ally of the French president, Emmanuel Macron, said his country could act unilaterally if the terms were not right. He said, "This no-deal risk exists. We mustn't hide it because there are businesses, our fishermen, citizens who need to know, and so we must prepare for a risk of no deal." That's to say on the 31st of December there will be no more free circulation, and free access to the UK market and vice versa. But it's not what we want, and the negotiations are still going on with Michel Barnier, who is in London at the moment. "I still hope we can have a deal, but I also say to our fishermen, to our producers, to our citizens, that we won't accept a bad deal." He added, "I think it's also the case for our partners that if there were a deal that isn't good, which in our evaluation doesn't correspond to those interests, we will oppose it. Yes, each country has a veto, so it's possible. France, like all its partners, has the means of a veto. We must make our own evaluation of course of this deal, that's normal. We owe that to the French people, we owe it to our fishermen, and to other economic sectors. I want to believe we will have a good deal, but to get a good deal it's better to be frank, and to say our interests. We have been very clear, sometimes the Brits a little less so, about our interests. The UK is looking to expel many of France's 13,500 fishermen from its waters.